gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Don Mafia Live at 11 a.m. EST and 5:15 p.m. EST. You read that title correctly, folks. Not going to lie to you, all right? It appears that this Buffalo Bills team is entering the playoffs at a full bill of health. The injury report was just released. And really our only question marks was Brandon Cordington, our kick returner, which I know a lot of us were sort of worried about. We were like, who the hell is going to return kicks? That's actually a very interesting piece to this overall team's performance. God forbid we throw like KJ Hamler out there. We throw somebody that isn't necessarily getting as many reps as our starter, and we get some sort of special teams gaff at the beginning of said game against the Broncos. Not necessarily something that we do want to see here, ladies and gents. However, it looks like, based off of today's practice, our good friend Brandon Cordington was in a he was in a regular jersey. No red non-contact jersey for Brandon Cordington walking into practice. Now, obviously, when he was asked, he was interviewed, he was doing the Buffalo Bills thing. Like, he was doing the PR situation where he said, yeah, I kind of tweaked my hamstring last return of the Bills and the Patriots game. We'll see how it goes. But at the end of the day, is that just a smokescreen for a competitive advantage to a team that is probably watching each and every single interview and dissecting every single syllable that comes out of anybody from the front office and or squad's mouth? Perhaps. That's my best guess. I'm going to assume that Cordington is good to go. All right, meaning that we are completely fine. Now, we obviously had Jamarcus Ingram. He has been out for the past 2 practices for a personal matter. I'm not particularly sure what that was. I really hope that it's nothing serious. If so, prayers to family, prayers to, really everybody else in that matter. But is what it is, folks. We have Jamarcus Ingram did not practice, and we have Brandon Cordington as limited. We've heard that Amari Cooper is going to be back. Again, prayers remain with his family, whatever he ended up going through. And then at the exact same time, Terrell Bernard, even with a quad injury, appears to be a full go. In fact, it was even announced that he is going to be out there against this Denver Broncos offense. Damn, baby. I'm feeling it right now. I'm not going to lie to you. Hey, what's up, the two? How you doing? What's good, Dan, the man? I'm doing well, Dr. Green Thumb. I sincerely hope that you have been enjoying your afternoon. And we have a great stream for you today, man. We are going to be talking about the full health of the Buffalo Bills. We're going to be doing largely a Q&A segment. And then at the exact same time, we are also going to be welcoming my good friend Kevin on for a little chat about this overall matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills here in just a couple of minutes. He should be backstage, I'd say, in about 5 minutes. We'll let him in and we will chat. Now, do me a favor, guys. Please go on ahead, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and smash that like button, okay? I do my best to make sure that I keep you guys entertained 24/7, 365 across the year. I'm not asking for super chats. I'm not asking for anything except for you to take 3 seconds out of your day, less than a second from that, and just hit that like button. Let's go on ahead and propel this over 200 likes. I think that we can get that done. What's up, Dan? Richard Forbes. What's going on, my friend? Hope you are enjoying your Thursday. It is almost the weekend. They are all about to have an injured pride this weekend. They're all about to have injured pride this weekend. Joe Riss is in the chat. What's going on, Joe Riss? It's time for our daily riddle. What has words yet never speaks? It's the dictionary. Look at that. Look at that, baby. I got that. And I didn't read what Jordan Smith said it either. Full transparency. I'm being wildly upfront with you. I did not see Jordan Smith's comment when I said it. It just hit me in the dome immediately. I love it. Finally able to listen to the evening stream. Nate Woodard, I appreciate you, man. Listen, I am always live at 11 a.m. EST and also at 5:15 p.m. EST. If you guys can make each and every single one, I would love that. But if not, I totally understand. And keep in mind, you can always rewatch them if, for example, you are not here live. Bills Mafia, let's go Bills. Let's get this win. We also have Hans with a $5 donation. Hans, I appreciate you, my friend. Dan, I just jumped in. Does this mean Amari has been practicing the last 2 days so we can expect him on Sunday? Hans, absolutely. Even if he wasn't practicing for the past 2 days and today was his first practice, I would still anticipate that he would play, because I think that it's very important that Amari Cooper serves as a distraction to PS2. As long as somebody is distracting PS2, I think that opens up a lot of opportunities for Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir, James Cook, particularly in the passing game, not so much in the run game, but I think Amari Cooper's presence in and of itself is wildly important to that. So, yes, Mr. Amari Cooper, my dude's going to be there. I promise you that. Jayco, Dan, this is still the best story ever told. The greatest story ever told, man. This isn't that sort of energy to me, right? Because we really didn't have a lot of adversity in the regular season. We certainly had a lot of negative narratives, and we also ended up having a lot of doubters in the offseason, but this is just an entirely different conversation. Dan, I think Cooper wasn't showing us as everything the full season for the playoffs to pop off. I'll tell you what, Dirty Dan, I think that he showed us a taste of it on that final game that we saw from him, where he went out there and he made that diving catch. That's all I'm going to have to say. Hold up. Damn. Knight is coming on in saying LFG Bills get this dub. Dan, you lost your mind trying to compare records. Allen 2-2 against winning teams. Lamar is 8-2. Glenn, you are the biggest hater I know. Absolutely squirm in your misery of the Miami Dolphins. The Buffalo Bills beat the 2-1 seeds in the AFC and the NFC. I don't know what you want us to do. We can't trade out teams on our schedule. We just can't do it. We just can't do it. In fact, I'm pretty sure we played 4 or 5 teams with winning records. I mean, come on, dude. What do you want us to do about that? Great story. Every told part 2. Jordan Smith. Liam, come up with something else. You say the same stuff every day, and it is absolutely dumb. I think that we're going to put Liam in timeout today. Not actual timeout in the live chat, but I do think that we are going to ignore him. All right? We are going to make him almost invisible today, folks. So let's play a game and ignore Liam. No one talk to Liam and just let him yap in the chat the entire time. All right. We are playing a ignore Liam, much like his older brothers and sisters and every woman that he's ever had a crush on. Okay. Let's act like Liam's crush in high school or middle school and act like he doesn't exist. That's what we're going to do. Hey, Dan, I just logged in from Melbourne, Australia. Go Bills. I will have to be up at 4 a.m. to watch the game in Queensland, as well as will be there a holiday. Let's go. Let me tell you what, Kiwi. I cannot think of a better way to start your morning than to watch the Buffalo Bills go out there and win another wild card matchup, baby. That's what I'm looking at. I appreciate that. Liam who? Exactly. He doesn't exist. We are playing a game, folks. We are ignoring Liam today. Okay? Trump 2024. Jelly just came in, man. He's throwing politics up in here. Damn, brother. Damn, man. All right. We're talking ball here, baby. Oh, no. Todd, listen, I told you we are ignoring him. He doesn't exist. All right. We are going to pretend that we are Liam's crush in middle school and do what she does best. Do not acknowledge him or know that he exists. All right. We're going to bully him a little bit by just completely ignoring him. Jelly is saying, wow. We got some politics in the chat today, ladies and gentlemen. Exactly. Not going to lie. If we can shut down Derrick Henry against the Ravens, we win. Also have to shut down Lamar's scrambling. See, my boy Knight Legendary Clips is coming in, and he is looking far past the Denver Broncos. And he's already looking at the next opponent. But let me tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to ultimately end up winning. I knew my team was done since Thanksgiving, but not delusional, thinking the Bills going to get past the Ravens next round. Glenn, this team and Lamar Jackson has 2 playoff wins his entire career. Absolutely 2. They are known for choking in the playoffs. All right. The Buffalo Bills are a better playoff team historically than the Baltimore Ravens. And I can't wait to hear what you have to say when the Buffalo Bills end up bouncing whoever the hell shows up in the divisional round to Buffalo. He has a particular set of skills. Like what? Like coloring, my friend? Like what? Like his Riz score on Fortnite is through the roof? I don't know what his set of skills are, bro. Is he crack at Fortnite, my dude? I don't know. What kind of skills does Liam potentially have that could offer any sort of positivity? This is going to be a heavy run dose game, ground and pound, soften up the pass rush, and then destroy them in the second half. Bills 36, Denver 17. Who do you have for the other games this weekend? Errol Flynn? I'm going to go ahead and tell you the winners that I have for each and every single game, my friend. I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I have the Chargers absolutely dismantling the Houston Texans. I have the Steelers upsetting the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm dying on that hill. And I'm going to be running around victory laps once it happens, because it's going to happen. And I'm going to be right. And everyone's going to be like, Dan, what are you talking about? The Steelers are beating the Ravens. Dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives all the same, ladies and gents. Bills are obviously going to beat the Broncos. I have the Washington Commanders beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Eagles beating the Packers, and I have the LA Rams beating the Minnesota Vikings. That's what I have going down. Steelers got bad numerical numbers. Mike Tomlin in the playoffs is 8-10, and Lamar Jackson equals 118. Also, Mike Tomlin record all time, including playoffs, is 191-117. So Lamar Jackson equals 118. We have the number one Lamar Jackson glazer in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. That is Jonathan Clark, man. Zip him up next time, my friend. Holy hell. Zip up Lamar Jackson next time. Oh my God, bro. Your throat must be sore. Anyway, Jacob and Jonathan, I am only kidding. He was skills by watching his garbage team this whole time. Knight is saying, Dan, and do you think we will be able to make a new contract for Cooper? I don't believe so, to be completely honest with you. Stop annoying my boy Dan. Go Bills. The 8th, that's what I'm talking about. Lamar has a losing record in the playoffs, and he does horrible against the Steelers, so I'm not worried about him. Raleigh, Dan, the Steelers can't beat the sorry Bengals. However, what's Lamar Jackson's record against the Pittsburgh Steelers? Look that up and look at his overall statistics. I don't think that he's going to beat them twice this year, okay? I do not think. Quit talking about offseason. Dante Jackson is coming. BC is saying great picks. He's a Rams fan in here, so he's absolutely thrilled. Repeat that, Dan. David, I don't know what you're talking about. I have beef with your co-host, Dan. Bills fan 1970. Join the club. Join the club, my guy. No way Steelers beat Ravens in Baltimore. Next personal attack, it's timed out for the day. Who's personally attacking people in here? What did I tell you? To be nice to each other, dude. Shit. And so I kicked Bob so hard, some of my family pictures fell off the damn wall on the opposite corner. That's how powerful I am, bro. That's what TRT gets you, brother. You know what I mean? Anyway, talking about Liam, of course. Go Bills. Go Bills. Defense is fine. Just need to do a better job stopping the run. You go do your Baby Shark coloring book. Guys, I thought the instructions were clear. That we are ignoring him. Today, man, okay? Kincaid will pop off on Sunday. Trust. Ravens life. Bills fan so shook of us. They prying that we lose. LOL. Why is B-Rad from Malibu's Most Wanted rolling up in here commenting from his damn Boost Mobile Android? Why you doing that? B-Rad from Malibu? Why are you commenting on your Boost Mobile Android right now in this damn chat, my guy? Why you doing that? Dan, how long have you been a content creator? And do you suggest doing so? I am an NFL junkie as well. Yes, I do. My friend. I always recommend that anybody on the face of the planet that wants to get into content creation knocks it out. It has changed my life, and it's a journey. It's a journey, though, my friend. It's an absolute journey, is what it is. Eric is coming in. Dan, and do you do 500 milligrams of tests like me per week? 500, baby. Right up the cheek, dude. Bills are soft and weak and have McDummy. Raven for life 716. Get out of here, bro. Anyway, we have this B-Rad LMAO. Punch the dummy. Antonio, Lamar's playoff 6 games. He got 6 picks and 6 touchdowns. Nobody's talking about that, though. Blake, I honestly think we have an advantage of Broncos playing a B squad last week. I wonder if that gives us any confidence. I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to double check where my potential co-guy is. Haven't seen him. Haven't seen him behind the stage yet. David is saying, Dan, anytime TD scores in the Bill game. Oh, yeah. Punch the dummy, boom, doom. I already did, bro. It's fucked up. Best investment I've ever made. For real. Best investment I have ever made in my entire life. He's going to be getting a beating on Sunday. We all know it's Allen versus Lamar for MVP. We should finish in third place. Blake Greenwald, did my orange profile pick make you remember Brandon Perna? He's coming in. He's coming in at 5:15 p.m. So if Baltimore loses Saturday, so the Bills will have LA coming to cold, snowy Buffalo in the divisional. I will take it. No. Here's what happens. If the Chargers beat the Houston Texans, which I'm assuming you're suggesting, they play the Kansas City Chiefs because they are the lowest seed. Because right now they are the 6th seed, right? And then we would play the next lowest seed, which would be the Pittsburgh Steelers if they ultimately end up winning since they are the 5th. So we would play the Steelers, not the LA Chargers. Dan, does Bob take creatine to endure all of those hits? I give him half of my TRT. I look half of my TRT. Raven for Life 716. I've seen your sentence structures, my guy. You dropped out after 4th grade. I know exactly what you're all about, my friend. I know what you're all about. You dropped out of 4th grade. Do me a favor and film yourself reading the first page of Green Eggs and Ham and put it on X. I promise you, you're going to be struggling, my friend. Do me a favor and give me 5 synonyms for dummy, my friend, without using dictionary.com. Read us a page of Green Eggs and Ham and post it on X. My guy, enjoy your gas station hot dog that I know you're guzzling down right now, bro. Right now. Nobody moves. Nobody gets hurt. Go Bills. Life of Oz. Absolutely. Folks, I want to remind everybody that this is a joke. If I go at somebody in the chat, it's part of the show. It's part of the show. Me beating the shit out of Bob and me talking shit to people in the chat is simply a part of the show. And I really hope you enjoy it. I hope that I give you a laugh. Raven for Life, your team can beat us in the playoffs as long as you stop the Chiefs Super Bowl. You take that back right fucking now, dude. This ain't a joke. Do I look serious? Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind, my friend? Men used to be men in America. Men used to be men. You're saying, I'm too afraid to say that the Bills could beat the Ravens because I'm afraid of mean comments on the internet, and I want a bunch of random people that I don't know that I probably wouldn't like in the first place to not be mean to me. Fuck that. Erase that comment, Jacob Gamer 360, all right? Grow some cojones, grow some stones for a second, and say, your Baltimore Ravens don't stand a chance. They are walking in to Buffalo and getting their teeth kicked in. Like they always do. Oh, dude. Listen. That's some bullshit right there. That's some damn bullshit. Oh, man, I really respect the Ravens. Where's your balls, bro? Fuck, dude. My God. My God. Hans. I said hands. Dude. Anyway, Dan, you were wrong. If Pitt and Chargers win, we play the Chargers. Pitt becomes the lowest seed, but Pitt's the 5th seed, right? Oh, no, never mind. Yeah, we play the Chargers. Never mind. Dan is on another level today, bro. Dude, listen, man. Nothing pisses me off more. Like, nothing pisses me off more like when I see like these Bills fans on X and they're like, hey, guys, can we just like sit back and agree that both like these quarterbacks are just great. And like, we're so lucky that we have a playoff game and like, we're going to witness such a great game. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, where's your fandom, dude? And don't give me that shit about, oh, we're supposed to be humble and hungry. You're not on the roster, fool. You're not on the roster. All right, bro? You're sitting there, much like myself, stuffing my face with wings, eating all the junk food in the world and yelling at a television screen. What we say about the game means nothing. Absolutely nothing. For the love of God, bro, stop being afraid. Stop being afraid of saying shit with your chests, baby. Last time I checked, we have the second highest scoring offense in the NFL. Last time I checked, we have a top 5 offense of all time in the NFL. And it was accomplished without a single 1,000-yard receiver and James Cook barely cracking 1,000 in the first place. We accomplished all this with the quote-unquote most overrated quarterback in the NFL. We are number 1 in turnover differential. Stop going out here and just being like, oh, dude, like, oh, my God, man. Like, this Bills team has no shot, man. Like, wow, I'm so scared. Dude, no. Absolutely not. Drill it into your brains, bro. Drill it into your skulls. This team is for real. Inject it in your veins. For the love of God, man, Bills Mafia. That means that they're not a genuine Bills fan. Absolutely, dude. Stop, dude. Nothing pisses me off more than somebody who comes off with that personality trait where they try so hard for everyone to like them. Fuck that. Be yourself. Because I guarantee you the people that don't like you, you wouldn't like them in the first place. You would not choose to be their friend. That's the number one advice I give to any of the youth. Never have that personality trait where you try so hard to be respected and liked by everybody. It's a trap. And you will lose what makes you unique and what makes you a beautiful person in the first place. So lose that whole, like, I'm going to be agreeable. Everyone's going to like me. Screw that. Never be like that. Biggest advice I can give to the youth ever. Dan, since you know Perna and you know Cole from How About Them Chiefs as well. Yes, Cole was on my channel a couple of weeks ago for Bills versus Chiefs. And then I will have Cole back on the channel if the Buffalo Bills end up facing the Kansas City Chiefs later in the playoffs. Let's see. Bills Mafia believe. Who is more annoying, Liam Dolphins or Ravens fan for life? Well, Liam is in 4th grade and Ravens fan for life reads at a 4th grade reading level. So I don't know. It's a tie. Dan, important question. AFC is home team this year in the Super Bowl. AFC picks uniforms combo. What uniform are we wearing? Home blues, or do we go all white winter soldier? What will look best? I would probably pick the all white because that's just kind of where I'm at, you know? I'm embarrassed for Jacob Gamer. Jacob Gamer, do us a favor and send in your fan card, Jake. Send in your fan card, brother. Jacob, listen, I'm kidding with you. Again, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. All right? I love you. Thank you so much. It's part of the show. I'm building the men of tomorrow, ladies and gents. I'm building the men of tomorrow, all right? I've seen people like Ravens fan for life and Liam walk around this earth way too long for me to not step in and take action of building the men of the next generation. All right. So that's what we're going to do on this channel, baby. I'll make that happen. KVP, I am embarrassed. No. It's okay. It's going to an NFC North showdown in the playoffs. Lions versus Packs and Lions versus Vikings and Lions versus Bills. Super Bowl. Lions winning the Super Bowl. Hey, man, Liz Pugsley. It's my guy Pugsley in the chat. He's doing his thing. So when are you going to stop beating up Dan? You know Dan the dummy can't hit back. It's Bob, as a matter of fact, man. And it's incredible cardio. Glenn. Kevin. What up, man?
What's up, brother? How are you today?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm not sure if you saw, but so I made this investment on my channel. It's like this punching dummy. So I've been beating the shit out of it, especially during my live play-by-play reactions when something on the game like happens that gets under my skin, or if there's a comment that gets under my skin. And it's a really good investment, man. It's really, really good. I feel a lot better after just beating the
Does it
hell out
have
of
to
me.
be an official mistake or anything? Like an official's mistake or
So it's anything. Like
okay.
actually, so like it's so say for example that the Bills do something that pisses me off, or the Bills do something that excites me, or the officials, like it's just there. Because like at first I was like, I can't put a Bills jersey on them, right? Because I'm not trying to hit a Bills player.
No.
And I don't necessarily want to invest in like all like, 31 other NFL organization t-shirts. So I said the referee probably just ended up doing it right. Right.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, I like the officials,
Yeah.
jersey. I think that's the right move. You could
Yeah.
especially get mad at it during a bad call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Most definitely. And you know what? It's funny because we have Vinovich, who's going to be officiating this game. And I'm not sure if you have looked into that, but I think last game he called from us, it was just one single penalty for 5 yards. Last time he ref for the Denver Broncos, he was like having a flag party against that team. So not that that's going to be a big part of it. Maybe it is. Who knows? But Kev, I'll tell you what, man, it's been a while. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and your holiday with the fam. How was that?
I did, man. It was great. It's great to have some time off. Kids are crazy. Good to see some family in town from Pittsburgh. So had a good time. Can't really complain about having a few days off, having to celebrate, watching some meaningless football, and really honing in for this week. I mean, this is really what it's about now. Whether the opponent's good, bad, or medium, this is what it's about, Dan. Right now, right here, right now.
It's good. It's good, man. And you know what? Like, here's the deal. I feel like the media is trying to do their best to go ahead and create
Yes.
storylines over this game. I mean, I've seen Dan Orlovsky. I've seen some people on X, although that I probably wouldn't categorize them in that arena in the first place. But I'm seeing people be like, oh my God, like, watch out for this Denver Broncos defense. Like, watch out for Bo Nix. And I'll be completely honest with you. Like, when it came down into all of the potential opponents, I think we match up the best against the Denver Broncos out of the potential of the Cincinnati Bengals and even the potential out of the Dolphins as well, just due to the fact that they were the divisional opponent.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, the team you might want to play is the Texans. Like, I think they're the worst. I think they stink.
Yeah.
They won their division, so that never would have happened. But
Yeah.
honestly, them or the Colts probably are the two weakest
Yeah.
teams by far. Bills have
Yeah.
lost to the Texans earlier this year. That took a couple injuries. That took Josh Allen going 9 for 30. It took them being fully healthy. Like, there's a couple instances there. And Josh not getting it done, getting the ball 3 straight throws. I mean, look, this is the playoffs. That moment against the Texans earlier this year, we would be yelling if we didn't let Josh throw the ball 3 times to try to go win a game. Like, come on. Like, there was no reason to run, punt, and potentially give Stroud a chance to win in that game anyways. So, Josh, that was his worst game of the year, in my opinion. Other than that, like, dude, Houston and Indy were the easiest. Denver's right there. They limped in. They were Bo Nix was 30th in EPA going into the KC game with the backups. Yeah.
And so I was watching that. And like, even during my game prediction the other day, like I was looking at even the box score numbers. And then I pulled up from that account called Computer Cowboy. I was looking at like all of the EPA metrics from him. And like, he was at like 27th, like 28th, like week by week. And then I also looked at the box score and I was just like, okay, like this team is god awful at running the football. I just learned that they haven't had a 100-yard running back since Latavius Murray. So that was more than 2 seasons ago in a single game, which is wild. And then even like their passing statistics are still like slightly above average to below average. So I like really wasn't getting like, how in the hell is this team still top 10 in points per game? It has to be because of defensive scoring and them just creating opportunities well into their own territory from the first place. And so am I onto something?
Yeah, and good field position. They played some decent special teams. Looks out to get one block to lose against the Chiefs. But they've played some decent special teams. They do take the ball away. So they're similar to that 2017 Bills, 2018, 2019 Bills team. So 2017 and similar with results. 2019 by similar like roster personnel. Basically this is the 2018 Bills with a little bit better roster. Looking at that 2019 team, that's really where this Broncos team kind of reminds me of at best. But like, look, they're getting some turnover luck, some turnover margin. They're also, playing fairly reasonably strong pass coverage and defense, but they have some weaknesses, some big weaknesses. They don't run the ball. If there's a team to take out the Bills, it's got to be one that can limit the game, that can limit Josh Allen's reps, that can speed the game up, and that can run the ball mildly effectively to great. There's only a few teams in this playoffs that can do that. And we can talk about those when they get there. But right now, it's not the Denver Broncos. They're unable to do that. They're going to need special teams breaks. They're going to need turnovers. They're going to need a lopsided penalty game. They're going to need Josh to be bad on third down. I mean, it's football. It's 60 minutes. It's not a 7-game series. That stuff can happen. But ultimately, it's not. You got to have a team that can run the ball to beat Josh Allen. I mean, period. Like that's
So it's funny because, like, honestly, like, I look at this Denver Broncos defense, and I've said that if by some miracle that they were to be able to pull off a victory, it would be exclusively because of their defense carrying from the beginning. And I've been listening to a lot of Denver Broncos podcasters, and a lot of what they have been saying and why they feel confident, particularly about limiting Josh Allen's ability to extend plays with his legs, is that this pass rush is very good at locking a QB into the pocket and preventing him from being able to roll right, which he tends to do every now and again. How do you see this overall offensive game plan? Since I have looked at their run defense numbers, which are very good, and then I know that they lead the league in sacks. However, they're also going up against the QB, who is the least sack quarterback in the NFL. So it's kind of hard for me to put together a plan because I feel like there's been so many times where we have respected a particular run defense and we're like, yeah, there's no way that we're going to be like a ground and pound heavy-esque sort of plan. But then the Bills turn around and they do exactly that. So how do you see us consistently winning against this defense? What do you think is going through Joe Brady's mind right now?
When they played playoff quarterbacks, 28.8 points per game. They have some inflated stats. They have some bad scheduling. Ultimately, they didn't get it done down the stretch. They luckily got a team resting their starters to the point where other teams are complaining about it. I have an issue with resting starters. The Chiefs earned it. They earned that right. So did the Bills. Yeah. I have a big issue when teams deliberately roll out Bailey Zappi over Jameis Winston. That's a mistake. That is a mess. That is not what football is supposed to be. When you're saving players for the playoffs, I give some more grace. You've earned that right. You have not earned that right when you're tanking in certain situations. That's a story for a different day. But ultimately, to attack this Denver defense, they're the worst team in the league against the running back in the pass game. They've allowed 600 yards and 6 touchdowns to running backs out of the pass. Their linebackers are slow. They can't cover. Everyone but Patrick Surtain. I don't love their secondary beside Patrick Surtain. I think McMillan is an awfully easy target in the passing game. He's not that great of a slot. Riley Moss has his moments up and down, but I wouldn't consider him a stud cornerback two at this point. I would consider him serviceable and growing as a 2023 draft choice. And they definitely have some weaknesses up and down that back seven, in my opinion. So if Patrick Surtain wants to take out Amari Cooper, have at it. Amari Cooper just is equally taking out Patrick Surtain. And the Bills have matchup across the field with Josh Allen being able to. The least sack team in the league, one of the least sack teams ever. Quite frankly, the Bills O-line's very good as well. The Broncos defense may win a couple reps, of course. But ultimately, Josh Allen will avoid pressure. He needs to do what he does, but he's going to have open receivers. They run the most man coverage. They can't cover the wheel route. Mesh is going to be a huge concept in this game. Ultimately, it would take a catastrophic bad Josh Allen game, in my opinion. Bad to really bad to keep them in or lose the game. So ultimately, I don't think that's the year you're going to get a goofy Josh Allen. This is going to be the year he wants to cement that he's an MVP. He wants to cement that he can take out these teams. But ultimately at home, they're playing at 11 o'clock Mountain Dan, 28 points per game against AFC playoff quarterbacks. I mean, they're not really stopping the good teams. They're doing really great against some bad teams, reminiscent of those 2017 to 2019 Bills teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I'm looking at this entire situation and I just have a strong feeling, like you said, with running backs in the pass game has been something that they have shown struggles with. Tight ends as well, from what I understand. So I could definitely see this being a massive Dalton Kincaid game, maybe a Ty Johnson 2.0 game as well, right? Where he leads in targets and receiving yards and the whole nine. But I'm glad that you came on because I've been trying to convince people. I'm like, look, like this Denver defense, yes, I have respect for their pass rush. Very good players at this point, but I think there's a lot of opportunities in the secondary. I really, really do. And then even with our own defense too, right? Because going to their offense, I feel like out of anybody's concern all year about this defense, and I'm still getting people in the chat being like, oh, Dan, I'm just nervous about our defense, not our offense. We know that Joe Brady's going to be in his bag. He's going to come out with the best possible game plan. But somehow they're still nervous about our defense in this game. Where if I were to ask anybody that is showing any sort of worry, what their number one reason why to be nervous was our inability of being able to hold a running back to like less than like 60 to 70 yards, like in turn. And this is probably the best like offense we could have went up to that does not have something that can match our weakness.
Right.
I think
Dan, like here's my concept. Like if you're the Broncos, you want to face off a team with a stud receiver one that you can lock out. So like, and they still lost to the Bengals, but you still want to have a team like, I don't know, the Cowboys or something to where you have like a CD Lamb or, pick your, maybe the Vikings, pick your receiver here, style of game, maybe the Rams, something along those lines, the Bucks, something where you can lock out a very specific receiver. But when you're going against like the Ravens, maybe the Bills, a couple other teams that are just so fluid and do things so well that like your biggest strength, sacking a poor quarterback who can't move and then locking down a receiver one, like that's not going to come into play against a couple MVP candidates in the AFC playoffs and their ability to run the ball in terms of being a quarterback runner, and then not really needing any of the AFC teams really needing to rely on their receiver one. I can't really think of one like, I mean, maybe the Texans when they were fully healthy, I don't know, but like ultimately across the AFC playoffs, none of them really rely on their receiver one.
No,
it's a challenge to where does it come in? They need to ultimately feast on an immobile quarterback in the pocket, get a ton of sacks. That would be good. Win the special teams battle. There's not a lot of. That's not a good matchup for a team that can't run the ball. It has to go into Buffalo. It's not a good matchup for a lot of teams, but specifically not one that can't run the ball. 60 minutes, Dan. Anything can happen. Josh Allen puts a ball on the ground for some reason. They haven't turned the ball over much, only 8 turnovers. They have the lowest turnover rate. But if that appears for just 60 minute stretch, sure. But ultimately, the matchup X's and O's. I don't really see much other than Denver having a pretty sound defense. Linebackers stink. Safeties are okay. Brandon Jones is good. But ultimately, I've been trying to find places that worry me about it. I'm going to go on record saying the 2021 game against New England in which Josh threw a shutout or pitched a perfect game, basically. That one was scarier to me than facing like PJ Locke and Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillan. Like ultimately, that's not going to get it done. I think the Phillip Rivers team was better. I think the New England team was better, and then we blew them out. It's very similar with a good-looking rookie quarterback coming into town, and then not even to talk about Sean McDermott's stats against rookie quarterbacks. 11-4 may not seem amazing, but it's really good because the losses are last week against backups. In the win game, the great win game of Mac Jones, 9-6 game where he shut out Trevor Lawrence, and Josh Allen and Daboll just weren't on the same page or something. I don't remember really what happened in that Jacksonville game, but it was wild. And then Sam Darnold with his 2018 roster. That's it. Like he doesn't lose to rookie quarterbacks. He disguises coverage with the best of them. He's going to make him think like he's in man and play a cover 2 zone. There's so many different things that Sean McDermott's going to bring a pressure off a boundary. There's so many things that Sean's going to do. That, I mean, we've heard it all. Bo Nix is, 50 years old. He's played in millions of games. And like, this is the NFL playoffs against an MVP candidate. Like, he's turned the ball over more and there's been excuses there. He's got double-digit turnovers. So ultimately they can't run the ball. He needs that. The Bills are going to sell out to be able to confuse Bo Nix, and they're not going to have to worry about Derrick Henry or even Joe Mixon causing issues. They're quite frankly, if Williams or McLaughlin's getting yards, the Bills will not care. They do not think that Jaleel McLaughlin is going to be able to beat them. It's going to be more like if Bo Nix is unable to throw the ball, that's what's important.
Yeah. So I really want this to be sort of like a trial run specifically for Bernard and Milano, like as far as their coverage grades. and as far as what we should want to expect from them in the whole coverage scheme of things, because Bo Nix is still very largely captain check down. So for the most part, he's averaging like 6.7 yards per attempt.
Yep.
7 of his touchdown passes were receptions behind the line of scrimmage as well. So he likes to keep everything in front of him. And I think with all the question marks, and I'm not sure if there's more to the story, but Bernard and Milano have not been too good in coverage for the past couple of weeks. I would really like to see them gain some confidence, especially going into the divisional, whoever we do end up playing,
The Jets game, they were great. Ultimately, I know it's the Jets is the Jets. The Jets is the Jets. And we all talk about their misery all the time. They played really good against the Dolphins, though, randomly. I know they played a win against Snoop Huntley, but they still played really good offensively. In a game where the Dolphins had some sort of a shot to sneak in. So we're not going to sit here and say that was a meaningless game for the Dolphins. Maybe as the game went on, they realized Denver was smoking the back 3 stringers of KC or something. But ultimately, the Jets, the coverage in that Jets game was Aaron Rodgers looked terrible. The Bills had a playoff defense. I know it was the Jets, but the point is the Jets have weapons. That's not their biggest weakness on the New York Jets. They had other issues, but the New York Jets of this year, in my opinion, they had weapons that could beat you. Devontae Adams played pretty good football throughout most of the year as he was a Jet. Rodgers had really good moments. We forget him because the team couldn't win. But he had good game. The Bills had a great coverage scheme against him. They played a little bit more playoff style of game in that Jets game going into it. That was really their tune-up game. And other than that, look, they were trying to be healthy in both those New England games. They were trying to, they weren't playing for a ton after they beat the Detroit Lions. They were just trying to get by at that stage. The 1 wasn't really realistic. They felt pretty comfortable that they weren't going to bump to the 3. So it was a really strange position for the Bills to be in ultimately. But one where, look, the coverage of the linebackers in that game, Milano looked good. And he looked so good that he didn't play against New England the next week. I really thought he would have gotten a half, of just like Rasul Douglas played over a little bit, about a quarter or more. I thought Milano would have been in there too. No way. They went right to their backups, Joe Andreessen, Yolofosio, and Dorian Williams. It's pretty entrenched that they think those 2 guys are back and can cause problems against a team without running backs and without tight ends. So they're going to have a get-right game to really all they're going to have to do is see where Marvin Mims is, maybe help out in the short and intermediate against Cortland Sutton if needed. But ultimately, you can't lose to a team with this kind of weapon base. Cortland Sutton's good. I really like Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
You can't lose to a team
with
minimal.
So we were even mentioning that name. So we were even mentioning that name for a potential trade, I think.
Yeah, tank team. Yeah.
We we should totally bring him in as a potential wide receiver. But it's exciting, man. I feel like every single playoff matchup, there is at least some sense of anxiety because we understand that we are just 1 win so away from advancing or 1 loss into going straight to the mock drafts and just looking into the 2025 season. But I'm pretty confident. It sounds like you're very confident in this offense to score quite a bit. And the Buffalo Bills have put up 30 points quite a bit. I have said that it's probably going to be more along the lines of a 24-17 type matchup. I'm not sure where your head is at for a final score prediction.
I just think that they've still allowed 29 points per game against playoff teams, against QB1s, not including their blowout. That didn't count. That basically the Chiefs were we're good on having to play the Bengals. Maybe even we're good on having to play, even the Dolphins, maybe better than you guys. I don't know. But ultimately they decided it was snowy. We have no interest in getting a single person hurt. We're not going to play this football game. So beside that game, they just haven't done enough for me to be they're going to take out 1 or 2 of the best teams in the league. You've already mentioned some of the things they struggle with. Beside Patrick Surtain, they have a 30% DVOA. Positive on defense is very bad, so 30% worse than average against receivers. Surtain's in the top of the league with his coverage, but everybody else is not. So ultimately, the Bills can say, you know what, another game where Amari Cooper's just get him out of here. We'll throw you up 50-50 balls if we think you have a shot at it. We'll get you on something quick, some quick hitters, but ultimately we just get him away from the play. We're taking him out just as much as they're taking the receiver 1 out. Ultimately, if we're not talking about a bad corner here. We're talking about the defensive player of the year potentially. getting him away from the play and out of the game is like a win for the Bills. It's not the reverse where, oh my God, you shut down Amari Cooper. Like, big deal. Like, the Bills will have
exactly.
so many other matchup wins. Like, everywhere else is plus Bills.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And I mean, hell, like we shut out Amari Cooper by ourselves.
Yeah,
So
like, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like we just got him for a glorified distraction.
Yeah, they're. I mean, you really look through their deep analytics. They're 15th in the league against receiver twos. So like they're 17th in the league against receiver ones, which you would expect them to be better with Surtain, but that's because the receiver two is better than I'd expected, and the receiver one's worse than I expected because Surtain bounces sometimes. He's pulling recently kind of covered like Chase.
He travels, doesn't he? He's not like
lately,
he's not
but not always.
Guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lately, he's traveled a little bit, especially when you have like Jamar Chase or whoever. They're 19th in the league against receiver threes. So there's definitely some, they're 31st in the league against running backs out of the backfield. So there's a lot of places. They're awful in the middle of the field. They're toward the bottom of the league in the middle of the field. So like they're 28th in the middle of the field. So there's winnable matchups there. Ultimately, if they can really get to Josh Allen, get him to fumble, cover zero, blitz him, they do that at the highest rate. Vance Joseph, the Bills know who Vance Joseph is.
Yeah.
Look, you can maybe have a Miami Skylar Thompson game with Bo Nix being better than Skylar Thompson. Could be interesting. But I mean, outside of a cover zero, blitz, fumble, return 6, those are the kind of things that they'll need against a much more polished Josh Allen than just a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh man, I am ready. I am ready for that matchup. Now, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers game as well. I know that Pittsburgh has lost 4 straight, but if I'm a Ravens fan, I think this was probably my less than ideal matchup that I would have wanted to see come into Baltimore, especially since they did end up getting them one time this year. From what I understand, Mike Tomlin actually has a winning record in Baltimore since Lamar Jackson has been the QB over there. The defense plays well. They're super familiar with them. Are you betting the house that Baltimore is going to walk in there and crush them, or is there a world where you could see them being on upset alert with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
They're covering. So I think that the Steelers are covering.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's 10 points. So that's good. Yeah.
Flowers, they're going to be like the Bills in a sense where if the Bills were missing a receiver, it wouldn't end their game plan. They're downplaying it. Like ultimately, they've scored points. They've been successful without Flowers. But at some point against, now you're talking the playoffs in like really heightened moments, that stuff starts to matter. The Bills look, as much as the Bills can run different offenses, they look bad without Khalil Shakir, equally so against half of the Baltimore Ravens or 3/4 of the game and into the Texans. They just weren't the same team with what he's able to do. We'll see if that's true of Flowers going in there. And then look, the Steelers can beat the Ravens. They have already. Like they do things well. Like just even one loss of weapon could be the biggest difference in there. They always seem to play well against them. If they can control Henry like they're able to do, then they, as long as they come focused, Russell Wilson has moments. He can't be throwing interceptions in the end zone. He can't be throwing pick sixes to Marlon Humphrey. And they were very much in that game. I can't say they're going to beat the Ravens, unfortunately, but I can say that like it's going to be sticky. It's not a matchup I would pick if I was a Ravens fan. I wouldn't have been like, let me get the Steelers again. I probably would have been much preferring the Broncos or Chargers. Like I just think the Ravens smoked them, both of those teams. I really do. And then the Steelers probably would have beaten the Texans. So ultimately, that's what you get for not winning a game down the stretch, not even being able to take out Cincinnati. But the Steelers are good enough, and they seem at least have a good enough defensive roster to not allow Lamar to throw on him and then sell out against the run. So I think it'll be a good game. I think they cover, and I'm going to say I think the Ravens win by a field goal.
Just by a field goal. Interesting.
So
interesting, man.
I never would want to. I don't even want to play a division team. I know the Bills have been well against them in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
it's just not my favorite matchup in the world if I was to pick one.
Yeah,
generally speaking, against a division opponent.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're definitely on the same page with that. I have the Steelers with the upset, and surprisingly enough, I do like that Porter is back, and I trust Porter against Rashad Bateman. And then I also trust like their safety tandem to be able to like take up a lot of the stuff over top that might be created by Mark Andrews, that might be created by Isaiah Likely. I think Zay Flowers not being in there is absolutely massive, but I don't know. It's my hot take. Maybe it's just me manifesting because I'm getting sick of arguing with Ravens
So you got the
fans over who
Steelers going to the
deserves
Chiefs?
MVP. I have the Steelers going to the Chiefs, and I have the LA Chargers coming up to cold-ass Buffalo for the divisional.
Okay.
I think that would be ideal, although that I would like to also defeat the Baltimore Ravens just because, and just to like pump our chests. And I don't want anybody to go on ahead and take away the accomplishments that we've had thus far this year. But
so then you'd have the Chargers going to the Chiefs then in that case. So
yeah, most definitely. I do not see the Houston Texans like having a shot in a gun range.
Who has the best chance to beat the Chiefs? Not that we care, but like who would it be out of those 4 teams? The Chiefs, or excuse me, the Texans, the Chargers, the Steelers, or the Broncos?
I'd probably have to go with the Chargers.
You think they have the best chance?
It's the divisional opponent aspect to it. And Harbaugh has proved that he does adapt relatively well, and the defense is still solid. At the very least, like that would be like an ugly win for the Kansas City Chiefs. Although that I feel like that they have been doing that for the vast majority of the season. I think that there's a lot of defensive matchups that I think that they could slow them down. And I think Herbert has started to catch fire. Like dude's put up like 34 plus points the past 3 games.
He finally turned it on. We'll see if he does in the playoffs or chokes like he did against Trevor Lawrence.
Oh yeah, with the Jags, it's absolutely nuts. As far as Super Wild Card Weekend, so I already told you my wins for the AFC. I have the Rams beating the Vikings. I do have the Rams beating the Vikings on this one. I was a lot higher on the Vikings until
we want that to happen. Unfortunately, that helps give us a better draft pick.
Yeah, most definitely. So a pick or two, but still, it's super cool. I still feel robbed from the Vikings because I was almost anticipating, hell yeah, top 10 pick in the second round. We're going to be great. Lo and behold, 14 wins later, here we are. But I kind of lost confidence in the Minnesota Vikings when they were only able to put up 9 points against the team that literally has everybody on IR on the defensive side of the football. And I think that Matthew Stafford's going to be on one, and I think the Rams are going to come out on top. I have the Commanders beating the Buccaneers, and I have the Eagles just dog walking the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where I'm at for the NFC side of things. I'm not sure about you.
Yeah, I agree with the Rams and the Eagles. I think those are pretty easy picks. I love the Bucs though. I like the Bucs. I don't know that Jaden Daniels
Baker's got that energy.
Yeah,
he's got that energy.
There's something about Gus. Yeah, have you seen the show where he pretends he's a fan? It's on Amazon.
Yeah, most definitely. He had like the mullet and stuff like that.
Yeah. So he goes by the name Gus. And I think he's gonna have a tiny bit of magic to win them this game. And then he's gonna have a pretty tough game against the Eagles the following week, and then the Lions or Rams. But ultimately, I have chalk on that side of the bracket, I guess. And I agree with your AFC side, except I have the Chargers as well, beating the Texans. Chiefs, Bills, and then I'm gonna go Ravens. So I have fairly chalk this wild card, except the Chargers. But the Chargers are favored, so I guess I don't have any upsets essentially in mind. But yours is a good pick. If I picked one, it would be the Vikings. Over the Rams. That's I would pick that. I would make that pick.
So a rematch in Buffalo with Baltimore. So we'll save that for next week if it ultimately does end up happening.
So then you have the Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles, Lions. Is that ultimately your?
I have Eagles, Lions. Yeah, I have Eagles, Lions, and then Bills, Chiefs. And then I think it's going to be a rematch.
I think they're the 4 best teams.
Yeah, me too. I have a feeling it's going to be Bills, Lions, just a rematch action.
The Bills have the hardest game out of any of those, though. That's the problem. So Bills, Ravens is harder than the other 3 dance to the game. So
I'll tell you that much. If we beat the Ravens, say that they do win and go to the divisional round, then there's no doubt in my mind that we're winning the Super Bowl. There's no doubt, because I'm like way more afraid of that team than the Kansas City Chiefs, even in Arrowhead. And I'm way more afraid of them than the Eagles and or the Lions. I don't know, man. I just have a feeling, but have to start business first. And that is the Denver Broncos on Sunday.
Yep.
What's going on your channel for the rest of the week, man? Any previews we should be looking forward to?
Yeah, just had a preview last night. Had a pretty good Chad. I had a really good guest on. I see our buddy over there, the guy from Roundtable representing the on your show representing the Broncos. He's pretty wild.
Oh, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crazy, bro.
I heard him
cool,
comparing Knicks. I've heard some rumors comparing Knicks to Allen and more passing yards and
yeah.
and
Yeah, man. Trust me. But TD Finstock was like pulling up like side by side analytics, and I had to tell him that he basically sat out 3 games this year, did a blowing the doors off a team. So we could sit back and like we could talk about adjusted passing yards if he were to play those.
I was concerned he's never watched Josh Allen. Like I'm legitimately concerned.
Yeah, me too. He was saying a couple of takes on that debate where like I was just like were you watching like replays of 2022 or 2023 like based off of some of the like weaknesses he was
his
highlighting?
Bad games with Dable or something in 2021?
Yeah,
like, I don't know what he's.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
so. Like I think sometimes people remember 2019 Josh, 2021 Josh.
Yeah.
Because even last year he was really good. Like he threw some turnovers. The difference is this year there's no turnovers. So I don't know. He doesn't get sacked and he doesn't turn the ball over. I don't know how you can look at that and say like he's the same person as Bo Nix because Bo Nix played 1 million games in college. Like it doesn't translate to me for a guy that was 30th in EPA going into the last week of the year against the backup Chiefs.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
But I was just saying, yeah. So on my channel, we had a preview. It was pretty good. They told me the weaknesses. They gave me some of the weaknesses, middle of the field, covering the running back. Their linebacking play is pretty poor. So they did break. They can't run the ball at all. So there definitely was some weaknesses. They're kind of happy to be on the upward swing, on top of really having a good chance to be good in the future. But it is reminiscent of those early McDermott Bills teams.
Yeah. Well, I am certainly looking forward to the matchup and then us reconvening next week, unpacking everything from this game and previewing the following. But guys, definitely go on ahead and show Kevin some love right over on the Built in Buffalo Network. His show is already live for the full preview. Does a fantastic job over there. Guys, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for tomorrow for yet another edition of Don Mafia Live on 11 a.m. EST and 5:15 p.m. EST. TD was trolling, and I put TD in his place at the end. Beautiful. That needs to be done twice a day for the rest of history. Kevin, I appreciate you for coming on in, my friend. And go Bills.